It started as a joke, March 12, 2023, 8:47 p.m., downtown Everett, Washington. A small group of young creators had gathered beneath the streetlights, their tripods set, their wireless mics blinking red. The plan was simple: a lighthearted, feel-good prank video called the Stranger Smiles Project. They wanted to record random acts of kindness, a staged argument that would turn into laughter and hugs. The point was to make people smile, but that night, the camera didn't capture laughter, it captured murder. The footage, later entered into evidence, begins with ordinary sounds: footsteps, cars passing, muffled laughter. Then, as the camera pans, you can hear two-year-old Haley Morton saying softly, "Okay, rolling, let's make this one perfect." For several seconds, nothing happens. Then, in a moment of fate no script could have written, her lens turns and catches something real. Two men are arguing near a parked sedan, voices rising above the hum of traffic. The image shakes slightly as Haley zooms in. One man shoves the other. There's a flash of metal, a scream. When detectives later analyzed the video, they realized Haley had filmed the exact moment a man was stabbed to death. And, seconds later, she herself would become the next victim. Haley Morton was known to her friends as the girl with the camera. Born in Everett on August 15, 2000, she grew up in a modest neighborhood with her parents, Dianne and Mark Morton, and her younger brother, Ben. Her mother described her as the kind of person who could make a rainy day feel like a movie scene. Haley always said she wanted to make people feel something, Dianne later said. Not just laugh, feel. After graduating from Everett High School in 2019, Haley attended Western Washington University, majoring in digital media and communication. She loved storytelling, especially the kind that captured raw human emotion. In college, she launched a small YouTube channel, initially posting day-in-the-life vlogs and funny street interviews. Her breakthrough came in 2021 with a viral video titled "A Prank That Went Too Right," where she and her friends staged a fake parking ticket only to surprise drivers with gift cards. It earned 1.2 million views, but behind the fun was something else: pressure. As her audience grew, so did expectations. She began to feel she had to constantly top her last video. She was exhausted, her roommate Jess Ramirez recalled. She'd stay up editing till 3 a.m., trying to make each one perfect, but she never stopped smiling. In late 2022, Haley posted an open call on her channel looking for collaborators. That's how she met Caleb Ross. Caleb was 26, a self-taught filmmaker who claimed he'd once worked on small indie sets in Seattle. He messaged her on Instagram, complimenting her editing but suggesting her stories lacked tension. His exact words were, "Your cuts are great, but your story's missing conflict. I can help with that." He seemed confident, charismatic, and he spoke like someone who knew the business. They met in person on December 14th at a coffee shop downtown. According to Haley's journal later recovered from her apartment, she wrote that night, "Finally found someone who gets it. Caleb's intense, but maybe that's what this channel needs. Beesiver." At first, everything seemed perfect. Caleb helped her with lighting setups, script ideas, even social media strategy. He talked about elevating their content into short films that blurred the line between prank and performance. Haley admired his passion, but her friends quickly noticed something darker. He'd talk over her constantly, Jess said. If Haley wanted to do something fun, like a feel-good prank, he'd say it was boring. He kept pushing her to do things that felt off, like fake confrontations or scaring strangers. When Haley pushed back, Caleb would guilt-trip her. In one text later recovered by detectives, he wrote, "The internet rewards chaos. You're scared of it. I'm not." By February 2023, Haley had grown uneasy. She told her mom she wanted to end their collaboration after one last video. She told me, "Mom, I just want to make happy videos again," Dianne said through tears. She said she was done with him. But Caleb had other plans. On March 12th, Haley agreed to meet him one final time for a shoot he called the redemption prank. The idea was to film a staged argument that would turn into laughter, showing viewers that kindness can diffuse tension. They chose the Everett Public Market parking lot, a place they'd used before because of its wide-open lighting. They arrived just before 8:30 p.m. Haley handled the camera while Caleb rehearsed lines nearby. Another collaborator, 3-year-old Liam Cho, was supposed to play the angry stranger, but texted that he was stuck in traffic. Haley decided to record some B-roll, panning shots of the quiet street, storefronts, passing cars. As she filmed, her camera drifted toward a nearby alley. Two men were arguing, one in a gray hoodie, the other in a dark jacket. She thought, at first, it might be another group filming a skit. She zoomed in to capture urban energy for her intro reel. Then the man in the jacket pulled a knife. You can hear her gasp. The image jolts as she steadies the camera, confused but instinctively documenting. The man lunges. The victim collapses. Then, for one frozen second, the attacker looks directly into Haley's lens, his face illuminated by a flickering streetlight. Realizing it's real, she whispers, "Oh my God," and starts to run. The video cuts out mid-motion. When police arrived 2 hours later, responding to multiple 911 calls about screams near the waterfront, they found Haley's body behind a row of dumpsters, about 3 blocks from the market. She'd been stabbed multiple times. Her camera was gone. At first, detectives believed Haley had been a random robbery victim. But the case shifted when a homeless man named Arthur Blake came forward the next morning. He told police he'd seen someone running from the scene carrying a camera bag and a tripod case. He looked scared, Arthur said, like he'd seen something he shouldn't have. Surveillance footage from a nearby gas station showed a silver SUV leaving the area at 8:52 p.m. The plates traced back to Caleb Ross. Detectives obtained a search warrant for Caleb's apartment on March 13th. Inside, they found Haley's missing Canon camera, blood on the lens, and on his computer, a folder labeled Raw Retake 312. The file contained chilling footage. It began right after the prank video's end, showing Caleb following Haley down the alley as she cried out for him to stop. In the final seconds, her voice trembles. "Caleb, what are you doing?" Then the screen cuts to black. Caleb was arrested 2 days later at a motel outside Spokane. When officers entered, he was sitting at his laptop, editing. On the screen was Haley's face, paused mid-scream. Detective Sara Keating, who led the case, said, "He told us, the world needs to see what real fear looks like. It was like he thought he'd made art." As investigators dug deeper, they discovered this wasn't Caleb's first act of violence. Back in 2018, while attending a Seattle film workshop, he'd been accused of assaulting a classmate during a shoot. The victim withdrew the complaint after receiving threatening messages from anonymous accounts, messages prosecutors now believe were sent by Caleb himself. Former classmates described him as obsessed with authenticity. One recalled him saying, "The best performances come when the actor thinks it's real." Police began to suspect that Caleb's final prank with Haley wasn't spontaneous at all. It was staged in his mind as the ultimate experiment. He'd planned to provoke genuine fear, record it, and call it performance art. Detective Keating summarized it bluntly. He wanted control of her story, and when she tried to leave, he made sure no one else could tell it. The trial of State of Washington versus Caleb Ross began on January 9th, 2024. The prosecution presented overwhelming evidence, the footage, digital forensics, and blood analysis, all tying Caleb to Haley's death. The defense argued insanity, claiming Caleb had blurred fantasy and reality, believing the events were still part of a scripted film. But the jury saw through it. The courtroom sat silent as prosecutors played a shortened, censored version of the footage for the jury. Even seasoned reporters wept. The prosecutor's voice trembled when she said, "He didn't just kill her, he directed her death. He lit it, framed it, rendered it for views." Caleb showed no emotion throughout the proceedings. He often stared at the monitor, as though reviewing his own work. On February 6th, after 6 hours of deliberation, the jury returned with a unanimous verdict: guilty on all counts, first-degree murder, tampering with evidence, and unlawful recording. When the judge asked if the family wished to speak, Haley's mother stepped forward, clutching a framed photo of her daughter smiling behind her camera. Her voice shook, but didn't break. "You wanted her to be part of your art," she said directly to him. But Haley was art in how she lived, not how she died. Caleb Ross was sentenced to life in prison without parole. In the months that followed, Haley's family and friends channeled their grief into purpose. They founded the Haley Project Foundation, a nonprofit dedicated to promoting digital safety, ethical storytelling, and mental health resources for young creators. The foundation partners with universities across the country, teaching workshops on consent, creative boundaries, and how to recognize coercive control in collaborative work. Each year, on March 12th, a candlelight walk takes place through downtown Everett, following the same path Haley walked on her final night. Her friends say it's their way of finishing her shoot. They bring flowers, candles, and sometimes cameras, but they don't film. They just walk in silence. She wanted to make people feel something, Jess says during one of those vigils. Now we make sure it's empathy, not fear. Haley's story became a warning for creators everywhere. Influencers began posting tributes, reminding audiences that behind every screen name is a real person. The story was featured in national headlines, sparking conversations about the dangers of blurred boundaries in digital media. In an interview months later, Detective Keating reflected on the case that had haunted her the most. "We live in an age where everyone wants their life to look cinematic," she said. "But sometimes, the lens makes us forget that real pain isn't something to capture, it's something to prevent." The recovered footage remains sealed, accessible only to investigators and the family, but its impact endures. It reminds us that one frame can change everything, that sometimes, in the pursuit of entertainment, we can stumble into something far darker. Haley Morton never uploaded her last video, but her story still went viral for all the wrong reasons. What she captured that night wasn't just a crime. It was a reflection of how fragile the line between creation and exploitation can be. If Haley's story moved you, please like, comment, and subscribe. Your engagement helps us tell stories that matter, stories that remind us of humanity behind the headlines, and the lives that deserve to be remembered, not sensationalized.